What role did 5% play in the messages coming out of hip hop from that mid 80s to early 90s?
Very profound. The 5% had a very profound impact on hip hop culture and its growth and development. You know, going back, I remember listening to the Supreme Team. The Supreme Team, the World Aim Supreme Team show, show, show. Those are 5%ers. They did the first nation, the national anthem, the 5% anthem on the radio. It was their routine. I got the cassette from them and redid it on our second album after them, so, and the terminology, the glossary, the hip hop glossary, we use cipher. We call it a cipher when we in the cipher rhyming, but for us, the cipher came from building. A lot, word is life, word is bond, talking to a sister, let me get your math, or just in general, you need the phone number, let me get the math, that's all 5% lingo, and so much more, and so much more. The 5% was very heavy. Even when you listen to that, go back and listen to that record. Hey DJ, when you play that song, Supreme Team. When you go to Supreme Team, you listen to that, you'll hear the callers. They had the the segment where the callers would call up requesting. And Rakim calls up. Rakim Bashar Allah calls up, and nobody knew at the time this is going to be the guy who become the God MC, right? Rakim is on that record, as one of the callers, so it's just a lot of influence, from the 5%, go back, you look at all the different crews, a lot of the crews had 5%ers, not all of them, but a lot of them had 5%ers present, Stetsasonic, you had Wise in Stetsasonic, 5%er, you had Just Ice with Boogie Down Productions and their crew, Just Ice 5%er, so a lot of influence.
A lot of people speak about the mathematics, right? And it seems like people have criticism for those who say it because they keep saying everyone's not explaining the mathematics properly. Could you explain the importance of the mathematics in the 5%?
Supreme mathematics is a life process, and it applies to everything in life because it's math. Math applies to everything. So supreme mathematics is knowledge. It's knowledge at a cipher. So it's 1 to 10, right? It's 1 to 10. Knowledge at a cipher. So you have principles like knowledge, wisdom, understanding, culture, freedom, power, refinement, equality, God, build, destroy, born, knowledge at a cipher. That's 1 to 10. But each one of those principles are very profound because they all mean something in your growth and development as a human being, and not just for human beings and individuals, but for groups, nations, tribes, families. That same process applies everywhere, from knowledge to knowledge cipher. So you add those, you take those principles, you need those principles in everything you do, whether it's business, whether it's family, whether it's nation building, culture, It's principles that lay the groundwork. It's the foundation for everything that we do. It's mathematics.
When did the teaching start to decline in a sense? It seemed like they started to fade away at a certain point.
No, the teachers didn't decline. The teachers didn't decline just like hip hop didn't change. That's one of the misconceptions that we have based on mainstream perceptions. Right, so we have this idea of hip hop that was created by the mainstream. So we'll say, okay, hip hop changed from one thing to the next. Changed from conscious to a dumbed down version of hip hop or rap music, or whatever. But in reality, hip hop remained exactly the same way that it's always been. We're just judging it by the 10 artists that we hear in heavy rotation on mainstream mediums.
Disregarding everybody.
And disregarding all the conscious MCs that exist everywhere in the world. Everywhere in the world. I'm locked in with MCs from all over the world who have followings, have traction on the ground where it's supposed to be, where hip hop is.
Fueled by the machine.
Yeah, it's not fueled by the machine. So when we say that hip hop is dead, when we say that hip hop has changed and is no longer the same, that's a perception created by mainstream.
But elaborate more on the 5%ers now, how it hasn't declined.
5%, 5% of the population who understand the truth and teach it. That's it. You know, if we're looking at a population of 100%, 5% are the 5% that understand the truth and teach it intentionally, right? Then you have the 10% who know the truth but don't teach it, but use it to leverage the 85%, right? To exploit the 85%. So that's your 85%. The 85% of the masses who don't know the truth and easily led in the right direction, but very hard to be led. Easily led in the wrong direction, but very hard to be led into the right direction. So the 10% understand this. So the 10% conceal the truth and become pastors of the sheep, or shepherds of the sheep that mislead the sheep, basically lead them to the slaughter, lead them to the butcher, in various ways. But that's what 5%.